So my name is Ben Hansen. I am a business development executive at Matternet. And we are building the technology platform for drone delivery. We are a startup down the street in Menlo Park. At its core, Matternet is a technology company with a full stack technology that really provides partners and customers the ability to stand up fully autonomous drone logistics networks. So to give you a quick gist of who we are as a company, as I mentioned, we're a startup located down the street. We have a very good and successful track record of beyond visual line of sight operations. Since 2014, we've been operating BVLOS flights, which is substantial when you really want to talk about the ability to operate large-scale networks in the field of drone delivery. We are an exclusive partner of Mercedes-Benz, and since March 2017, we've been an official partner of Menlo Park Fire Department, which is a very exciting partnership for us and for the fire department, as it allows us to explore how best to apply drone technology in a functional and purposeful way for first response. So these are some of the quick milestones I mentioned. One of the things that sets us apart in the industry is our operational experience, specifically beyond visual line of sight. When you talk about automated drone delivery, automated drone logistics, deconfliction, all of these things that at a very large scale are happening and will continue to happen, BVLOS flight operations are really what will set apart a technology in terms of its development, its roadmap, where it is in maturity. And so this is something that I wanted to call out as something that separates us. So I want to start real quick with what the problem is, right? Why are we here? Why does Matternet exist? What are the things that we are looking to tackle? Again, it comes back to this question, what's the problem? And one of the things that has come up several times already today is this idea of legacy logistics frameworks, legacy infrastructure, legacy modes of transportation such as cars, trucks. All of these things, when you put them into cities with legacy road infrastructure and you add urban congestion, all of these things lead to very slow on-demand logistics, very expensive on-demand logistics, and unpredictable on-demand logistics. And when I say on-demand logistics, we can talk about fire response, emergency response, the inability to really get somewhere as fast as possible because you have to, go through this kind of traffic clutter that really pops up all over the place and will continue to be a driver and challenge in cities all over the world. So in the context of emergency response, right, particularly near urban and suburban zones where time can literally mean the difference between saving a life, or the ability to provide advanced aerial logistics solutions, the ability to give first responders that first look, that eye in the sky, at a fraction of the time and a fraction of the cost of what it would take those legacy transportation modes. This is really where Matternet sees the problem, the solution, and really the excitement that we have behind our partnership with the Menlo Park Fire Department. So I know we're on a time crunch, so I'll get to one of the main things I wanted to address here. Here is that idea of half the time, fraction of the cost, predictable logistics, right? So what you see here is actually a map, a Google map of Los Angeles. I used Los Angeles. We could certainly have used San Francisco as being one of those tremendously sprawling but also horrifically urbanized cities, and to the extent that the logistics framework is just a nightmare, right? I mean, you are sitting in traffic anywhere, everywhere, all the time, no matter what time of day. So what this does is it shows a direct aerial route from Santa Monica Boulevard up to Burbank. And that's around 10 miles in direct aerial distance. If you were to take a car at any time of the day, it takes about 58 minutes. And if you were to autonomously launch one of our drones from that point, from point A to point B, it takes roughly 20 minutes. So I'm going to say that again because it's substantial and it's amazing, and that is what is at the core of some of the excitement behind this. It takes 20 minutes versus a 58-minute direct route. And that can mean a ton of things in terms of time saved, costs saved, the ability to get somewhere faster, to provide that advanced analytics of a scene, or even to provide an emergency payload in time. So that really brings me to the final slide that I wanted to share with you. Where are we? Here we are. Right? Which is the problems for on-demand logistics is universal. This isn't something that's just in Los Angeles. It's not something that's just in San Francisco. Anywhere there's a city, anywhere that you have cars that rely on legacy transportation modes, you face these sorts of problems, right? And perhaps the most important application in terms of time saved and in terms of the public benefit and the value that communities can get out of these sorts of technologies is emergency first response. When we're talking about time saved, I mean, this can literally mean the difference between saving a life. And you can't really put dollar values to that. That's a public benefit. And so, this is one of the things that Matternet is extremely excited about, to be in partnership with the Menlo Park Fire Department. And it was said earlier, and I'll say it again, which is, these are tools. These aren't toys. And the applications are vast in the arena of emergency response. And so, some of the call-outs that I want to give, first and foremost, to the Menlo Park Fire Department, one of the reasons we're most excited to be in partnership with them is because we see them as being at the forefront as a public entity, as an emergency first response entity. They are at the forefront of pushing technology. And when you want to talk about technology advancement with public-private partnerships, that's something you have to have in a partner. And so you can see, they're one of the first emergency response agencies to actually receive a formal authorization from the FAA to conduct drone operations. And perhaps most importantly, there's a true need, which I think I've underscored so far. There's a need for these sorts of advanced aerial systems. These are things that can facilitate emergency payload delivery. The chief earlier talked about our configuration. It allows for flexible emergency applications, whether that be the emergency payload delivery, whether that be advanced situational awareness, tracking, chemical sensors, you name it. All of these things can be modularized as part of our technology stack. And that really opens the door for a lot of different emergency applications. So I'll stop there in the, for time concerns, because I know we're on a tight schedule. But I really wanted to underscore that problem that exists currently in our infrastructure, and say that we're very excited to be tackling these sorts of problems and learning with the Menlo Park Fire Department in our partnership. So I know there's a couple questions probably at the end that you wanted to ask, so I'm more than happy to answer those now.
Yeah, Ben, what are the biggest challenges facing widespread adoption?
Sure. Yeah, so I'll keep it first specific to the United States, and then we can talk more about the rest of the world. But in the U.S., I would say, and most other places, regulations can be either a barrier or a catalyst, right? And so I think in the near term, in order to really gain widespread adoption, you're going to need a regulatory framework that is going to be willing to help advance the industry. We're talking about emergency first response here today and what it means for emergency first responders. Being able to show the adoption of technology in the context of a public benefit and the benefit that this can bring to fire departments all over the U.S., that's something that's really going to push the envelope from a regulatory perspective. So, I'm very excited that, these are the types of entities that we have in the room to talk about this kind of technology. Now, what won't push regulations forward in terms of having industrial logistics frameworks for drones is everyone looking at drones as sort of this hobbyist toy, right? That's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about how this monumental technology can really change the logistics frameworks within cities. So to answer your question, I would say regulations, at least in the near term, and then hopefully with these sorts of public-private partnerships, that's something that a barrier that can be broken down.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. I have to stop you there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great.